Hey guys, so I am going to be continuing my The Basics series, and today I'm going to be doing contour, highlight, and blush for this part, because the only thing I have left to do, let me zoom out. There we go, sorry. Only thing I have left to do is that, and then my lipstick, so I'll make another video about that. I'm going to be using just a normal lipstick tube, but it's going to be a darker color. But anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about contour and highlight. So what I do for contour, I'm going to start with that first. I take a contour palette. This is the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I have another one I use pretty often too, which is the Tarte Park Avenue Princess palette. And I'll show you what these look like. If you're fair skinned. If you have fair skin like I do, I'm going to want to use not the darkest color, clearly, but for contour, I use a cool tone, and then bronzer is more of a warm tone, like this. And so for this palette, if I want to contour my face, I'm going to be using this. If I wanted to bronze my face, I could maybe use this, but it just depends. Sometimes I've even used this as a contour shade, and it's not a perfect match, so I use that first shade because it's a cooler tone. And say I was using this palette, same thing applies. Whoops. This has a couple more shades in it, but if I want to contour, I mainly use this shade. Every now and then I'll use this shade. This is too dark for me, but this is more of a bronzer shade. And the difference between contour and bronzer is that contour is going to be very, more specific. Bronzer is if you want to just warm up your face. That's why it's a warm tone. And you can put it all over your forehead, excuse me, on your cheeks, and it just like, whoa, I look pale. Bronzer, and it kind of like gives you a, I just came back from the beach kind of look. So I will be doing both today. I normally just do contour. I don't really do a bronzer, but for the sake of this video, I'm probably just going to be using this Hoola by Benefit bronzer. It looks like this. So I can show you different products to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is bronze my face, just to go ahead and get started with that. For bronzer, I'm going to be using a fluffy brush. I don't want a very dense brush, and I don't want a small one either, because bronzer is more all over the face type thing. It's not as specific as contour. So I have this brush by Beach Cosmetics. I even have a couple other ones. This is more of like a blush or a contour brush. Yeah, I have a couple other ones. But anyway, I'm going to be using a fluffy brush like this. You can even use a fat fan brush, but I would have to search around for that. So anyway, to bronze, I'm going to start out with this Hoola by Benefit bronzer. This is like a mini travel size version, but it still does the trick. And just kind of get it all in there. And then I just kind of sweep it over my face. You don't want to be scared about this. It's just bronzer. I'm just going to go like this. I just kind of warm. See how it's already warming up my face right here? And this brush is not extremely dense, so that's also good, because the denser the brush, the more pigmented and intense the product is going to come off on your face. And that's why with bronzer you don't want to have like an orange line all over your face, and that's also why you want it to be fluffy. So I'm just taking it, kind of sweeping it across my cheeks, and this is not something to be very precise about, at least in my opinion. And if I want it on my forehead, sure, I'll go right here by my hairline, kind of whatever across here, a little bit down here. And this is like laying down also where you're going to do your contour, but contour is a little bit more specific. And for the sake of talking about this Hoola Benefit bronzer, it comes with a little brush, so you can just sweep it across your face, but I just used that brush right there. Anyway, so now I'm done with bronzer, and the next thing I'm going to do is contour my face. Now with contour, you want to be more specific where you put that color, so you can use a brush like this. It's very dense, or like this. This is more for cream contour though. And I can do a video about that, or even add it to this one. Or let's say you're contouring, then I would use that other brush I showed you Either this one, maybe I would more do for highlight, but you can use this for contour if you wanted to. Where's the other brush? Where did I put it? I think this was it. Anyway, fluffy brush. But for contour, I'd want to use a more dense brush because I want to be more precise. And so this is the Real Techniques sculpting brush specifically for contour. And so, again, I'm going to be using a cooler tone. And I'm just going to get it in there. And this is pigmented palette, so I'm just going to tap it like that. And then what I want to do with contour is I'm going to look in my mirror and where this part of my, like the top of my ear, I want to go kind of in a diagonal line down. And then I want to stop the contour about the edge of my eye because I don't want to have brown right here. That's going to be where I'm putting blush. So it's going to go down like that. And I kind of just suck my face in like that so I can really see the hollow of my cheek. And then I go like that. And with contour, you kind of want to blend up. You don't want to drag a dark color down. It's going to elongate your face. And it just, with contour, the point is to sculpt and lift. And so that's why I kind of blend up like this. I'm going to hit the other side. I go to this ear and then about the edge of my eye. And just kind of blend up. Like that. You can kind of see why I put the bronzer a little bit and then the contour was kind of in the middle of that. And then if I even want to contour my forehead, I can. Just kind of putting it a little bit more precisely by the hairline. You can just drag this down. And then for the sake of contouring my jaw, what I do is you don't want to have like a lot of product, so sometimes I don't even dip back into the palette because you don't want to look like, oh, my foundation doesn't match when it's really just your contour. So you don't want an intense product, so I just kind of lightly along my jawline kind of hit it here, and then I just follow the natural structure of the bone. I don't put it up here and I don't put it down here. I go right along the middle of the bone. And so, in all, you can think of this as the number 3. You go here, and then you go this way, and then back down, and that makes the number 3. I think that's an easy way to think about it. I don't contour my nose because I like the shape of my nose, but some people do contour their nose where they're going to put, maybe even use an eyeshadow brush and kind of hit the sides of their nose like that. Or they might even get under their lip or up here on the tip of their nose. But I don't do that, so this is just for face contour. I don't really have problems with the way that my nose looks. So, and that's just like if you really want to be extra and bougie and do extra contour. So that's how I contour my face and bronze. And so for highlight, I did like a gold eyeshadow look today. And so I'm going to be using a gold highlighter. If I can find the one that I'm looking for, that would be wonderful. Here it is. What is it? Yes. This is the one I'm going to be using today. This is the Dose of Colors Soulmate highlighter with their collaboration with I Love Sarai. So it looks like this. It's a pretty big pan, which is nice. And what I do for highlight is this is technically a setting brush, like where you can put powder underneath your eye, but I've seen other YouTubers use it for highlight. It's kind of tapered and small near the end, so I kind of wiggle it, and then I flip the brush, and I'll explain why, and just wiggle it through the highlighter. And then if it's intense pigmentation, you can kind of tap off like that, so it's not like bam, all the product in your face. And so with highlight, where you have the contour, you're going to want to put it on the high point of your cheeks. And I don't touch my hairline, and then I also don't go past the outside of my eye either. It's kind of just another place right on top where you put your contour. And sometimes I'll smile so that my cheekbone is kind of lifted and I can see it better. and follow that line right there. And so since I use this side of the brush, and this is just an easy way so I don't have to dip back into the highlighter, I just use this side so the product is almost gone on this side. So I flip the brush over and then just hit the other side of my face. I keep saying I'm hitting my face, I'm sorry, but I just mean that I'm putting and doing the other side of my face. And I don't let it touch my hairline because I don't want like shiny all the way up here that just looks like you don't know what you're doing. So it's really like about here. So part of my eye and then right here. Again, using geometry. Who knew it would be useful with makeup? So that's how I do my highlighter for my cheeks. And then I also do the tip of my nose like this. And then I draw a straight line up and down my nose. So it's kind of like an exclamation point down and then ding right there. And then I also get my forehead. And so what I'm going to do here is kind of where this arch of my eyebrow is. I'm going to go up and then I just kind of wiggle it right here. And then the other side too. Kind of where that arch of my eyebrow is, go up and then just wiggle it in that general area. And sometimes I'll even get my chin and my cupid's bow. It just makes that a little shiny. Like that. And so that is how you highlight. And finally, for blush, this is the blush palette I use the most ever. This is the BH Cosmetics Professional Blush 10 Color Blush Palette, and I highly recommend this for beginners or just anybody because they're not too pigmented that it's crazy, like you look like a clown, but they do give off a decent amount of pigment, and they're easy to blend, and it's just, you get a bunch of options right here that are neutral and easy to wear with almost anything. So I'll be taking a blush brush, again just a fluffy, bigger than a highlight, but smaller than the bronzer brush. So I will be using this kind of orangey shade right here, and I just dip it in there. And then for blush, what you want to do is look straight, and you see the black pupil part of your eye. You want the blush to go in this area and then up. So go down about right here, and then kind of in a diagonal upward motion. I also do blush last because if my highlight is too intense or it just looks not natural, if I'm going for a natural look, or if my highlight is just too much, then this kind of blends it all together and might tone it down a little bit. Not too much, it's not going to take the highlight away, but it just tones it down and it just blends the two, everything together. So, looking straight, pupil, and I smile also for this, so I can get the apples of my cheeks. And I can tap and then go up or even just swirl up like that, and it adds some color to my face. Then I'm going to tap into the same thing to get the other side because I want them to be even. Pupil down, swirl up. And you can tap too. And it's hard to tell with this lighting. I'm sorry about that, but I do have some color on my face, I promise. And then some people, I had a friend who recommended to me that she also puts a little blush on her nose just because it's cute. And some people just love blush and go crazy, so I'll do that too. Just tap, 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 tap. Nothing too much. You don't want your nose to be like orange or red or pink or whatever color, but just a little something, something. And then I just kind of tap it away like that. And that is how I do contour, bronzer, highlight, and blush. It's nothing too difficult. You don't have to overthink it. It's pretty easy. It may sound like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of geometry going on in here, but that's just to help explain where I put the product. You don't have to put highlighter everywhere. If you just want it on your cheeks, that's fine. If you don't want to do bronzer, you just want to do contour, or if you don't want to do contour and you just want to do bronzer. It all depends on your preferences and what you like to do with your makeup. So you don't have to follow me exactly, but I'm just giving you a general idea of what I do and how I do my makeup. So yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. I try to explain the best way I can. Sometimes I stumble over my words because I'm trying to figure out how to explain things the best or be specific and precise. and also I have a lot of products everywhere, so sometimes it takes me a minute to find what I'm looking for. But again, just thank you so much for watching, and as I always in my videos, stay pretty and stay fabulous.